Hey guys, Bella here. It's my off day and I'm eating a cheeseburger, but I stopped to make this video real quick because I wanted to talk about what does a listing agent do. So in real estate, there are listing agents, there are buyer's agents, and most agents act as both, but at any given time you could be working for one person as their listing agent, meaning you're helping them sell their house, and you could be working for another person as the buyer's agent. So what does a listing agent do? Number one is they represent the seller's best interests. So what you're going to do as a listing agent is to be an advocate for your seller, to get them the most money possible for the sale of their home. You're never supposed to disclose how much money they would take, or if they are, willing to take way less. You don't lay out their cards on the table unless you have been specifically instructed to by your seller. They can still show a home to buyers. So as a listing agent for my little house in Sheffield, I'm still able to show it to buyers. But if a buyer were to choose to submit an offer, we would have to enter into what's called a dual agency. This is a good term to look up if you are wanting to learn more about real estate. A dual agency, once you enter into this, it means that you cannot give advice to either party after that. So basically you just be working as a facilitating the transaction and working with both sides. So you see how it can get a little bit hairy when you're working both sides. But this happens actually quite often, because imagine you are like, say I have an open house for one of my homes and someone comes in and they love it and they're like, okay, we want to buy it, we want to make an offer. Well, am I going to tell them, oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you? No, what I would need to do is say, okay, we need to have a conversation with my seller to write up this offer, and everybody needs to be on the same page, basically. But that's one thing to know. The listing agent should really never disclose what the seller will take. A lot of times a seller has a house listed for $100,000. Well, maybe they will take $90,000, but another agent might say something like, hey, what will they take for this? You don't say, oh, they'll take $90,000. You just say something along the lines of, oh, just submit an offer and we'll get back to you on it. The last thing that I want to do as a listing agent is lose my seller thousands of dollars just so I can close a sale, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but a $5,000 difference in a real estate transaction is only $150 difference in commissions for the agent. So I'm not going to be losing my sellers thousands of dollars to make an extra $150. Another thing that listing agents are really responsible for, and the main reason you would hire a listing agent, is to market your house. Personally, I feel like a listing agent should spend some of their own money on the listing. That is for advertising, for buying professional photos, print ads, Facebook ads. Craigslist is free, but other websites sometimes charge to put things on. And an open house, they should have, their presentation should be good. They should have snacks or something like that. I just feel like if you're paying someone 6% for the sale of your house, you should get 6% worth of effort and maybe a little bit of marketing services as well. So another thing the listing agent does is they present all the offers to you without judgment and without pressuring you. So for example, if I have a house listed at $75,000, someone calls me up and they say, I will take that house for $50,000 cash. I can't be like, man, we're not paying $50,000 cash. That's not enough. All I'm supposed to say is, okay, thank you. I will present it to my seller and get back to you. That's all a listing agent is supposed to do. If a listing agent does more than that, then they're not representing your best interest. So all I have to do is make a quick phone call to my seller and say, hey, we have a cash offer for $50,000. Now they're either going to tell me to decline it, counter, or accept it. And you never know what could happen and what could be factors in the decision-making process. So basically, your listing agent should present everything to you. And verbal offers are considered offers, but at the same time, they're not necessarily enforceable. There's no contract involved. So, but even if you get a verbal offer, you should still take it serious and act like it's serious. Okay, so a listing agent should also explain the real estate process to you as it progresses, because there's so much that it can really overwhelm you, especially if you've never sold a house before. If you've only bought a house, there's a lot of things that have to be done as far as the closing goes, like say ordering a termite inspection, and it's not a big deal, but it feels like a big deal to some people. And then there's also the inspection that the buyer might have. and there's an appraisal on the house usually if it's being financed with a loan. So basically what your listing agent needs to be doing is explaining things to you like I'm doing in this video. I try to make sure that people are understanding what I'm telling them, and if I'm talking fast, I try to tell them, like, tell me to slow down, because I understand, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you understand. Some of the clients that I work with want to know every detail along the process, and then some of them are just trusting me and they don't care. They just want everything to go the way it's supposed to go. But either way, you're entitled to know what's going on in the transaction, and I feel like if they can't explain why something's happening, where money's going, where it's coming from, then they, shouldn't be your agent. So also, listing agents should keep you in the loop of showings and everything like that. Like if you have 2 showings on your house this week and you don't live in the house, me as a seller, I want to know when people are coming and going. I would like to know how many people saw it each month, and if you're doing an open house, you need to let them know that. So a good agent will call you about probably 3 or 4 times a month and let you know what's going on. If they get your house listed and you don't hear from them in a month, something's really going on. That's kind of strange for you to get a house listed and they commit to selling it and then they don't talk to you after they get the listing paperwork. So just keep in mind, a good listing agent will update you. They may not necessarily do a lot, but they might just call you and say, hey, we had a showing on the house this week. Just wanted to let you know what we've done as far as progress. And the last thing is, a good listing agent knows there's a lot more work to be done after the paperwork is signed. They don't just list a house and leave it. I've seen a lot of this is listing agents are very excited when they come to your house and try to get you to list the house, but after that they kind of taper off and their enthusiasm goes to another person, because in our business we make money when the sale closes, and we make money off of our listings. So a lot of times it's in someone's best interest to get as many listings as possible, and they don't really care if all of them sell. They just care if they get more and more and more and more. So just think about that and think about what someone's telling you. I try to take everything with a grain of salt in my life, and that's an old expression, but basically what it means is to kind of question everything and see, like, what is this person's motivation for telling me this? What are the angles that they're working, and what do they necessarily want from me? And the biggest thing when I go to a listing appointment, I'm trying to figure out, number one is, how can I help this person, or can I even help this person? Because if I show up to a listing appointment and they're sort of delusional about the prices, or they are, just not really motivated, like I talked about in my last video, if someone's not really motivated to sell their house, then they'll come up with reasons why they can't necessarily sell it, and they may just not be ready. It may be 6 months to a year down the road. So, but anyways, I try to figure out if I can help someone, if I can really work with them, and that's what I'm trying to figure out when I go meet with someone, and also if they want to work with me. So really, when someone comes to meet you as a realtor, you should be sort of interviewing them. It's kind of like dating. You don't just marry the first, you don't marry someone after the first date. So just kind of think about it like that. And a good listing agent will be able to walk you through all this stuff, because there's really a lot that goes on from the time that it's listed to offers being made. Sometimes multiple offers are made. Sometimes there are problems with an inspection and things have to be fixed. So that's just my 2 cents in what a listing agent does and what I've learned so far in the Shoals area. Now, different regions will be different, but as far as the Shoals area goes, I think that no matter who you hire, you're probably going to get a pretty good listing agent, because people here tend to spend a lot of time sort of explaining things and basically just trying to do the best they can, because this is a very small community. So if you are, not a good agent, then word would get around that you weren't good to people. But if you're a good agent, then word gets around that you're good to everybody. So anyways, that's my 2 cents of what a listing agent does. I'm going to go back to eating my cheeseburger, but that was my little real estate video for you guys for the week. So thanks. And again, I'm Bella. I work at Coldwell Banker Pinnacle Properties in Florence. If you want to get in touch with me, my phone number is 256-335-7529. Thanks, guys.